Becoming a parent changes everything. Your body, your mind, your relationships, your identity. I'm Katie, a mum of 3 boys and your host of By Your Side. Each week, I'll bring you honest conversations with trusted experts and real parents. No fluff, no shame, just the science and stories that help you feel seen, supported, and confident in your choices. Whether you're newly pregnant or knee-deep in toddler chaos, we'll explore everything from mental health and sleep to identity, guilt, and what it really means to raise a child today. Hit follow now and join us for new episodes every week. We're right here, by your side. Jo Gordon is the founder and director of Daniel's Den. A Yorkshire lady at heart, Jo came to London to be a primary school teacher, but feeling isolated after the birth of her first child, Jo started a parent-toddler group in her local area. She's a lovely, warm lady whose commitment to creating safe, welcoming spaces and activities for new parents has literally been a lifeline for many. Jo now devotes her time into bringing about the vision for having a parent and toddler group within walking distance of every family in the UK. And in this podcast, she brings alive the value of connection parents can gain from their local parent and toddler groups, but also shares her wisdom as to what you can do if you're anxious about attending one. I am very excited this week on this episode because we have Jo here from Daniel's Den and talking about something that certainly made a huge difference to me as a new parent. I'm going to hand over to Jo to explain why Daniel's Den came into being, what it's all about.
Oh, great. Well, thanks, Katie, for inviting me to be part of this podcast. So I'm Jo Gordon, and I am the founder and chief exec of a parent and toddler charity called Daniel's Den. And I started it when my son was 4 months old, and he is going to be 29 in 2 weeks. So I have been running parent and toddler groups for over 28 years. And I truly believe they're the hidden treasure of the nation, that they are a lifeline to families. And the background to setting up Daniel's Den was that I was a primary school teacher in northwest London and absolutely loved teaching the children. It was a joy. And I recall vividly one day when a parent pushed their 4-year-old into the class and said, "Mrs. Gordon, please give this child some manners." And I remember thinking to myself, it's not my job to give your child manners. It's your job as the parent, and we're here to build on that. I think that's where there was many experiences like that where I thought, I could support the parents with their children before they get to school, how much better it would be for the children and the parents to receive that support. And then when I had my little boy, I live in London, in Wembley, and my family lived 240 miles away in Yorkshire. And I suddenly realised I had this baby and I didn't really know my neighbours. I'd been working full time. All my friends and my husband was at work. And I just wanted my child to know and be known in the local community, to build relationships that matter. And so there was 2 other people in my local church who had babies, and just the idea of Daniel's Den started there. So we started meeting in a little community centre down the road every Monday afternoon, and things have grown and evolved ever since then.
That's amazing. And the fact that you're still doing it. And we had a bit of a chat before the podcast, didn't we, Jo, about my experience being very far away from my family and friendship group when I had my first child. And still going strong is Sandra in Lanreth in Cornwall. And she was a lifeline for me. And I looked at websites and families that have been to your groups, and just that word lifeline really, really stands out. So when you have had those experiences and parents come in, what difference has it made for them that you're there? What have they told you it's meant to them?
Well, I think one of the greatest compliments is that you are family to me. And I think that is the thing, that it's a place where they feel safe, where they can just share what's on their heart. And I think there's been moments of joy. So last Friday, I ran a group and this dad came in with little Archie and he went, "Oh my gosh, Jo, his language has exploded." And this dad was so thrilled that his son was now putting words together and forming simple sentences. And then another mum came in with her little boy, and just to see him walking. And she just loved the fact that we noticed that he'd started walking. And I think it's that thing when we work with Daniel's Den, we work with over 60 different nationalities every week.
Yeah.
Many of people know their partner in this country and nobody else. So to see familiar faces week in, week out, and just having that unconditional welcome for anybody to come, you just know that they don't get that everywhere.
Yeah.
And again, it's free as well, we're a charity, so we offer all our services for free. People can make a small donation if they want, but there's no stigma that, oh, this is somewhere I've got to go, or they're going to tell me what to do with my children, that they're creating a safe space. Yeah, there's so many things, and yeah, it's great.
Well, I think I know you're a huge advocate and really waving the banner for toddler groups to be everywhere and for everybody to have a toddler group in walking
Yeah,
distance. So
yeah,
I think it's a case of obviously trying to find where they are. And what's amazing is you started that up with a 4-month-old, which is just inconceivable to me. There's no way I could have done that with a 4-month-old. But I suppose it's how I'm just really conscious, and definitely, and I know something that's been raised by some of the By Your Side members and members of our community, that it's that anxiety around stepping in. And I know I certainly felt the same of actually at work, I could talk to anybody in any circumstance, could even stand on a stage and give a presentation, no problems. But to walk into a room full of
mm-hmm.
people I didn't know,
Yeah,
almost holding my baby as a shield because and making those conversations was so anxiety driving.
yeah.
So what steps can parents make knowing that it will be really beneficial? What where do you start? If you know there's a toddler group, how do you even begin to step
Yeah.
through that
Oh,
door?
that's an amazing question. There are so many ways in which I could answer it. First and foremost is people need to know that you're there. And there's so many people that don't even know what a toddler group is, or they think their child's got to be a toddler before they go. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you should put baby in there. But I say your baby's never too young to come to a group. So I think one of the first important things is that you advertise what you do in places where parents can discover you. So for people who don't know anybody in the community, they might be searching online. So having an online presence is a really good thing. And also, show photographs or have little descriptions about what might be happening in the group, so they've got some idea of what to expect when they come, I think is a really good thing. And having publicity, again, another thing, a lot of people are not online. Having that poster outside that again tells the time, but also gives a few words: friendship, toys, singing, so that they know what it is. But for us, one of the key things is about having people. So our team of volunteers are really, really key to
Yeah.
us. That when people walk into the room, that our volunteers are trained, and that is not a formal thing, but they're on the lookout to welcome people. And a lot of our volunteers were parents themselves who came through the door
Yeah.
2 years ago, 5 years ago, so they know what it feels like. And they're there to offer to hold the baby whilst the parent's having a cup of tea. It's just that friendliness and that hello. You don't even, so it's trying to make people feel at ease. And also one of our big things is that when people walk in, that they see somebody who looks like them.
Yeah.
So we have a very multicultural context. And so it's just when we have a very multicultural team of volunteers. And again, sometimes language can be a barrier. But I always say people know if the space is welcoming. So it's interesting you say that, Katie.
Yeah.
Last week, one of our parents has moved to a new area, and she goes, oh, I've been to the local toddler group. She says, but everybody sits in the same place and there's not a spare seat for me to sit on. And she goes, I feel like they don't want to make friends. And I felt so sad.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite a common experience for
Yeah.
many.
And I suppose taking that kind of on the parents, from the parent side, it's like, kind of taking those key tips. So look online,
Yeah.
look on the social medias, because, you will have pictures hopefully, and you get to know, look at your local venues, it could be your local village hall, or it could be church, etc. Be on the lookout for those posters and know that there will be a friendly face to greet you. But also it's finding what fits, because sometimes, as you said, it just hasn't got that feel. So,
Yeah.
and it's okay to go and just self check and sense check. Am I feeling uncomfortable because I don't like the situation, or am I feeling uncomfortable because this hasn't got the right feel for me? And and it's about having that informed choice and being comfortable and confident that you can make that choice. But no, actually, parent-toddler groups that aren't just for toddlers, that are for from from birth, really. And
Absolutely.
actually, a really good time, if you're really organised, is when you're pregnant. Go
Yeah.
along if you can have the time to go and have that cup of tea. And I know for me, it was the only time in the week I ever got to have a hot cup of tea.
Yeah.
It was the only time I had a hot cup of tea. And I remember that 17 years on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that cup of tea was often it was the only cup of tea that he had made for you that week, which was amazing. I think one of the things that we talk about a lot is we're always reminding parents about how they felt on their first day. And so on Friday, again, one mum came because she'd met a mum in the park who'd given her a postcard about
Mm,
Daniel's Den.
yeah.
And again, it's having that personal invitation. And I always say to our parents, you are the best people to invite other parents
Yeah.
to come along. Because again, it breaks down that barrier. And it's like, and then I always say it's run by the community for the community, that it belongs to everybody. And you're so right about different groups suit different people. So we have some groups that will have 35 families and it's rammed to the door, and we'll have other groups that have 10. And again, we're all different personalities. Some of us like to be in a smaller group that's more intimate, whereas others find that a bit too threatening, as if
Yeah.
they're too visible, and they want to sort of be in the midst of a crowd. So it's different personalities. I have a great story actually about a parent who was too frightened to come to a group.
Oh, okay.
And again, that whole thing about postnatal depression, about,
Yeah.
1 in 3 mums and 1 in 10 dads at least suffer from postnatal depression. And this mum, she had 3 children under 5, and we opened up a group in a local school. And she'd been to a group, I think, when she had 2 children, and no one spoke to her. And she vowed that she would never ever go to another group again because she just felt so rejected.
Yeah.
And then we opened this group in a school. So she sent a friend, and a friend came one week, and then Joe came the week after.
Yeah.
And she left 8 years later,
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
after,
Yeah.
yeah, it was the transformation in her life was huge.
And it's finding the one that fits. And it's
That,
okay.
I think that's a key thing, is finding the one that fits.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think, what would you say, because I know it is a concern for many parents, what would you say to a parent who's worried about the behaviour of their child coming to a social environment where you just want all the children to be playing happily, but they're just concerned about how their child's behaviour will be
Well,
received, or might
yeah,
behave.
I know. Well, it's an ongoing saga, isn't it? And there's no easy answer to that. And I often say, if I see a child having a little tantrum, I keep saying, "Oh, my daughters were great. They always would used to have a tantrum in the toddler group," and just sort of giving that reassurance. It's okay for the children to be like that. The important thing is that your child is safe and that other children are safe.
Yeah.
I know last week I ran a group for dads, and one of the dads, I think he was concerned about his little boy. So actually, he came 10 minutes early to let his little one adjust to settling in, to see
Yeah.
how things were. And he sort of got over that anxiety. And again, we often say to parents, come for a little while, and then, if it becomes overwhelming, because again, children's personalities deal with change in different
Yeah.
ways. And I think there's that thing that you don't have to be there for the hour and a half. So we're just always reminding parents and carers, it's your job to look after your child in terms of safety. But it's amazing how the children do learn, and their children learn to share by sharing, keeping them away, keeping them isolated. They're not going to develop those social skills, but actually coming together and realizing they're not the only child in the world
Yeah.
is often quite a challenge. And often, I know with my children, we used to be in the middle of a toddler group, and then when I came home, I used to look at them thinking, oh, actually, what I thought was they were really loud, they were actually really quiet, that it was
Yeah.
good. They do say, I heard it even this morning about comparison being the robber of joy, that not comparing our children, but of course we do.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
it's part of everybody's brain. You can't help not to, but it's about monitoring that, isn't it? To just say,
It is.
yeah, nothing's better or worse. It's just that's my brain making a comparison of it.
Absolutely, and we do it. But it is just nice to just have someone else to talk to, and I think that phrase "me too," to know that people are struggling with sleeping or
Yeah.
with their child eating or that saying no and not wanting to do things, just having that peer-to-peer support is really great. And I think, again, that you'll always have people who will judge or what have you, but within the ethos of Daniel's Den, it's very much about acceptance and having that welcoming space and not being judgmental. And that's what we try to model in all that we do.
I love that, and it's that phrase, isn't it? You are not alone.
Yeah.
And parent-toddler groups are so important in helping you to understand that you aren't the only one. You might be experiencing it slightly differently, but you're not the only one experiencing what you are. I suppose that leads into my next question, because it can be a bit of a barrier for parents, which seems kind of a reverse psychology in the way that parents will say, well, surely parent-toddler groups are just about parents and support for parents. And they'll actually use that as the reason to not go, because I don't need it, so I won't go to this. Whether they do or not, and we all try and kid ourselves, don't we? It's kind of, oh, I don't need that in my life. But it's more than that, isn't it? A parent-toddler group is about so much more than just that support, which is fundamental anyway.
Yeah.
But what else? And you've kind of alluded to this in some things you've said parents have said to you, but why else do you think parent-toddler groups are really important?
Well, I think they're just a rich learning environment for your child to come to. Do you know what I mean? That they have their learning experiences at home and with family and friends at home, but just coming into a room. So our groups are very much set out in a way to model different learning experiences and play experiences. And as we know, children learn through play. So it's having that Play-Doh table. A lot of parents don't want to have Play-Doh at home because it might get on the carpet. And again, the same with craft activities, that they don't want the mess,
Yeah.
which, we're all different, aren't we? But just creating those spaces that it sort of sparks ideas, and the books, the toys, the building, all those different interactions. And I think within our groups, we always serve a really healthy snack, sort of fruit, and we get all the children to sit down together to eat together. And again, children are learning, oh, there's different fruits to try, and they're just learning from each other. And I think that modeling behaviors, but it's done in a very sort of natural way. It's not like, right, you need to do this now and
Yeah,
then
it's
in
not
five
like
minutes, you
school.
need to do that. And it's very child-led. It's very child-led in terms of the play. But at the same time, we run our sessions for an hour and a half, and we do have a rhythm and a pattern in that.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's a good thing for children and parents to learn, that, it's good to do certain things. And that whole concept of tidying up and doing something different is a really key thing. And I think that the experiences are just huge.
Massive. So I suppose the last question would be, what would be I mean, obviously you'd say to any new parent, find something in your local community. That would be the first step. But what should they be looking for? And we've said different things meet different people's needs and different groups. But what makes a really good toddler group?
I think it's having a community where you feel that you belong. I think for me, I think loneliness and isolation that you feel as a parent can be, you can be in a room full of people but feel very lonely and isolated. And you can have a supportive family, but you may be going through different things. So for me, having a safe, welcoming space within walking distance of every family of the nation, that's my real key thing. And it's that genuine warm welcome, that you're not just a tick sheet, you're not a statistic,
Yes.
you are a person, and that the people that are there are genuinely interested in you. I think that's a really key thing, that sense of belonging.
Fantastic. And I think in that you've just sold the whole reason of finding a group in your area, wherever it may be and whichever's right for you. If you're a new parent, just finding that sense of belonging. And no matter how anxious you might feel about it, it's how you know that will be a place where you can feel safe and that your child is safe. You might go just to get a hot cup of tea
Yeah.
every week, but it's just a safe space where you can feel supported, which is
Yeah.
amazing. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of By Your Side. If you found it helpful, the conversation doesn't have to stop here. Head over to the website for free resources, expert support, and details about the By Your Side courses created to help you feel more grounded, informed, and less alone in your parenting journey. And if you're looking for a space to connect with others who really get it, you'll find all the info about our membership there too. You'll find the link in the show notes. And if you're enjoying the podcast, it means the world to me if you would leave a quick review or share it with a friend. Until next time, we're right here by your side.